Didn't bring it. Here. Traffic. Whew. Good evening. I hereby call to order the action session of the Board of School Commissioners for the City of Indianapolis. Our color guard this evening is from John Marshall High School. The cadets will post the colors and then lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Please rise for the presentation of the colors. The colors are being presented by Commander, Cadet Command Sergeant, Major Robert Wood, Cadet Second Lieutenant Keisha Taylor, Cadet First Lieutenant Cosmel Uceda, Cadet Sergeant Cameron Bovey, Cadet Major Dewan Moore, Cadet Lieutenant Colonel Joanna Ayala.
Color guard, attention. Carry, color. Forward, march. Color guard, halt. Color burst, march. Color guard, halt. Present, arm. Please join me signing the pledge of allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Order, arm. Outward, face. Forward, march. Color guard, halt. Post. The colors. Present, arm. Order, arm. Center, face. Forward, march.
Thank you to the cadets of John Marshall. Madam Secretary, will you please call the roll?
Commissioner Bentley,
Here.
Commissioner Hannon,
Present.
Commissioner Odle,
Here.
Commissioner Eccles,
Present.
Commissioner Cosby,
Present.
Commissioner Sullivan,
Present.
President Arnold.
Here. We will now adopt the agenda for the evening. The agenda was modified and discussed at our agenda review session on Tuesday and reflects changes requested by commissioners at that meeting. Do I have a motion to adopt the agenda as presented?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the agenda as modified and discussed. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Having adopted the agenda, we will now proceed with section 2, recognition of groups in the audience. If there are any groups in the audience that would like to be recognized, please rise and state your name and the organization you represent. Thank you. We have a number of special guests to be recognized this evening. First, we will recognize IPS parent Delane Alexander.
While we talk nice about you.
Delane has been instrumental in serving Stephen Foster School 67. She has worked closely with the parent involvement educator, teachers, the principal, and other parents. She has attended workshops to help improve the school. She has also worked with students and assisted classroom teachers during lessons. Delane is a positive force in the school and has helped the school expand opportunities for parental partnerships. Ms. Alexander strongly supports education and is now enrolled in college coursework herself. It is my pleasure, on behalf of the entire board, to present Ms. Delane Alexander this recognition for her dedication to education and her tireless commitment to Stephen Foster.
Should we clap? Congratulations.
Thanks for your service. Thank you.
Francis W. Parker, School 56, would like to recognize the support of their PTA board that provides both Francis W. Parker and other IPS schools. One of the board members is in the school nearly every day of the week, advocating for all students, not just their own. They provide funding for projects, supplies, and field trips. They fielded questions about IPS as the parent voice at the first showcase of schools. Additionally, they have encouraged new PTAs at Joyce Kilmer 69, James Russell Lowell School 51, and George Washington Carver School 87, and supported PTA leadership at William Penn School 49 and Center for Inquiry Schools 27 and 84. PTA board members are Mary Ann Hack. If it's your name, raise your hand so we know who you are. Okay. Mashariki Jawanza, Tracy Heaton de Martinez, Sarah Garner, Angel Edmondson. It is my pleasure, on behalf of the entire board, to present to the PTA board of Francis W. Parker this recognition for their support not only of Francis W. Parker, but of parent leadership across the district. Washington Irving School 14 volunteer Mrs. Sue Brown exemplifies invitational practices. She serves in the main office as the receptionist, where she is the smile that starts the day for many parents and students. She is the friendly voice families get on the phone with answers. She covers for the office staff during lunch breaks and helps keep the office running smoothly. She shows up every day and stays until the students are dismissed, donating her time to support education and not asking for anything in return. It is my pleasure on behalf of the entire board to present to Sue Brown this recognition for her dedication to Washington Irving students, parents, staff, and administration. I would now like to invite Dr. Teresa Baker to the podium.
Good
Dr.
evening.
Baker is the principal of Thomas D. Gregg School 15 and will be recognizing members of Team IPS who recently completed an exciting project at her school. Dr. Baker?
Good evening, everyone. It is my pleasure as principal of Thomas D. Gregg Elementary to recognize the Facilities Management Division team for their work for designing and constructing the Pacers Mission Control Room. The control room includes a working flight simulator, an air traffic control center with an actual radar showing real-time air traffic. This control room has a significant positive impact on students. It has sparked student interest in aviation-related careers and has given teachers new ways to engage our students by incorporating aviation into their lessons. It is my pleasure, on behalf of Thomas D. Gregg Elementary staff and students, to present FMD, the team, with this plaque in recognition of their work for designing and constructing the Pacers Mission Control Room.
Our performance this evening is by the Rocket Percussion Ensemble from Broad Ripple Magnet High School. We will enjoy two selections this evening. The first, appropriately timed, is La Primavera, or The Spring, by Antonio Vivaldi, arranged by Broad Ripple teacher John Haig. The second, Mario Medley, is arranged by ensemble member and Broad Ripple student Caleb Edwards. I don't know about you, but I wanted to play Pac-Man.
Mario Brothers.
We have now reached the opportunity for public comment. Our first commenter is Abby Taylor, who will provide remarks about elevating the teaching profession.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Abby Taylor, and I currently teach third grade at William McKinley, School 39. I want to start off by saying this is absolutely out of my comfort zone. I can stand in front of students all day and teach, but to get in front of adults is quite uncomfortable for me. I just want to start off by telling you about my students and their achievements over my past 9 years of teaching. While I taught kindergarten, I had 91% of my kindergartners make benchmark on their reading dibbles. When I moved to second grade, I had 27 students, and 23 of them reached their dibbles assessment in reading of 87 words a minute. And they were able to retell everything that they had read. Many of them met and surpassed that goal by reading over 100 words in a minute. This year, in third grade, 82% of my students passed iRead. And if you count all the students who have been with me all year, 91% of them passed. My students have worked hard, and I've worked hard alongside of them. We all know that in order to close the achievement gap, our students are in need of effective teachers. I am an effective teacher, and my data proves that. I represent the teacher who works hard every day, but aren't usually physically or publicly recognized. We go into the classroom with the daily urgency to improve student achievement. Unfortunately, teachers like me, the quiet, hard-working teachers, are leaving the classroom, and that's the reason why I'm here. IPS is quietly losing high-quality teachers daily, monthly, and yearly. They're going to other districts, schools, and even leaving the teaching profession. In the past 9 years, I've been in 8 different schools, and it's difficult for me to list the quality teachers that I entered IPS with, who still remain loyal to IPS. It is a pivotal time in IPS, and we have to choose to continue on the path of losing high-quality teachers or work hard to retain them. This is hard work, and the school board and administration must make retaining and recruiting a top priority to ensure that our students have the best teachers in front of them. Every day during my 1-hour drive to school, I pass dozens of schools. With my results, I could get a job at one of those schools and have more time for my family. Not only could I get a job, but I could get paid thousands of dollars more. Each year, the students in my school ask me, "Ms. Taylor, are you coming back next year? If so, I really want to be in your class." I would love to tell them that without a doubt, in my mind, I will be there. But each year, this choice becomes harder and harder. For too long, I and other teachers have had to make the false choice between family at school and family at home. This shouldn't have to be a choice. I urge you to make retaining and recruiting teachers your top priority, because at the end of the day, I think we all agree that every teacher and every student in IPS deserves an effective teacher. Thank you.
Thank you. Our second speaker is Keela Stewart, who will comment on Phelan Leadership Academy at Francis Scott Key, School 103.
Hello, how's everybody doing tonight?
Thank you.
My name is Keela Stewart. I'm representing my son. He goes to school 103, and I have this to say today. Hello. My name is Keela Stewart. My son is in the 2nd grade. He goes to school 103. I haven't been happy with his education. It's been up and down. He always have a sub. His teacher is out of school more than he's in, and I really get kind of tired of that because my son don't have constant homework every night. I haven't been happy with him being at his school. He went with no homework for 2 months because his teacher out of school more than he's in, which is unacceptable. He has had a stubborn. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm kind of nervous, but
Do you mind,
Just
will you
speak in
speak
the
in the microphone
okay,
so we
I'm
can
sorry.
hear you? Thank you.
I start from all over. I haven't been happy with his education since he's been at that school. He went on without homework for 2 months. It's unacceptable. He had a sub every day of the school year until March. This just aren't enough teachers willing to work full time at that school. School leaders just don't communicate with the parents like they supposed to. I've been trying to find a new school, but to keep my child from losing his papers and everything, I've been keeping him in the same school. At the whole time, I have been hoping to see a change, but not that much. I say all of this not to complain, but to explain why I'm excited about the possibility of the new principal coming to the school. My child and others deserve a better chance. They've been getting put behind, and a lot of stupid stuff been going on, and that's all I have. I'm looking forward to getting to know the new principal and many changes that the school has to offer us.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You did well.
Our third speaker is Christelle Massey, who will also comment on Phelan Leadership Academy at Francis Scott Key, School 103. Christelle Massey? Not here? Okay. We will now ask for commissioner comments. Any commissioners who would like to make comments at this time? Commissioner Sullivan?
Thank you. Just a few things. Number one, I just wanted to invite anyone who might be free tomorrow to Mojo Coffee House at Senate and Michigan. I've started a monthly, first Friday of the month listening session. It's right centrally located. There is parking there, and it's an informal conversation, and I would very much appreciate if you would join me. Also, would like to encourage anyone who can't come, if you have neighborhood meetings or community organizations that meet regularly that would like to hear from update on the commissioner, I would love to come out and talk to your group. And then finally, I'd just like to, again, encourage people to participate in our strategic planning process. It's ongoing. And there will be all kinds of opportunities coming up, but we're moving on a very fast schedule. We have a great group of very diverse stakeholders involved, and so I want to thank those who have been involved and encourage people to get involved in that. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Eccles?
I was going to say hello and thank you to Jamie. She was one of the veteran teachers my first year of teaching, and she definitely took care of me, but she walked out. But I don't think I've ever publicly thanked her for taking me under her wing my first year of teaching at John Marshall. So I definitely wanted to tell her thank you. It's recorded now.
Any other comments? Commissioner Bentley?
I know, Commissioner Arnold, you mentioned the Dollars for Scholars program that we attended for Washington Community High School last week, and on Tuesday, but I just wanted to comment about how much I enjoyed that event and felt good about making a donation to the scholarships for students at George Washington. That same evening, I also had the opportunity to attend the end of the year celebration for Science Bound. And it was just, I was bowled over. It's an amazing program, and the students, it was a room full of students that are much smarter than I am, and I kind of love that. But so I just, it's a great program, and I appreciate Purdue University's support of that. And we heard from, I can't remember how many students, it was a significant number, all going to Purdue next year. Most of them getting full ride scholarships. It was a wonderful, wonderful event. I also had a coffee chat last Friday, and I want to thank the parents and other community members that attended that. It was a lot of fun, and I plan on doing those monthly as well. So that's all I have.
Any other comments? I would just like to thank those that came out tonight to attend the meeting, and especially our speakers. We know it's not easy to get up here, but it's important, and we appreciate you taking your time to make your thoughts and ideas known to us. So thank you very much. Now we will proceed to act on the business before the board. We will now vote to approve all items on the consent agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded that we approve the consent agenda. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Are there any comments regarding the treasurer's report? Hearing none, I'll accept the motion to approve.
So moved. Second.
Been moved and seconded that we approve the treasurer's report. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Superintendent reports. I will turn the agenda over to Dr. Farabee.
Thank you, Madam President. Good evening, Commissioners. In Section 6 on Superintendent Reports, there's one item that we have follow-up for action. That's item 6.04, which is ratification of choice for students and families as a result of the Arlington transition. The recommendation that the Board of School Commissioners authorize IPS to reestablish the attendance boundaries for Arlington High School by offering rising 7th and 8th grade students at James Whitcomb Riley Elementary School and Robert Frost Elementary School the option to complete their 7th and 8th grade at their current school or attend Arlington High School, and transportation will be provided to students irrespective of the option chosen.
Move approval.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve this resolution as presented. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I would like to say for the viewing audience and those in the audience, if things seem to move very quickly tonight, it's because we've had the opportunity to review these items and ask questions and get additional information, and to also talk about them in depth at our Agenda Review Committee meeting this past Tuesday. And at that meeting, we also received the quarterly finance update, a baseline technology report, and reviewed the capital projects plan. We have no formal board committees functioning at this time, so we will now turn the agenda over to the superintendent.
Thank you again, Madam President. In Section 8, unfinished business, we have 3 items. Begin with the first item, which is item 8.01. It's a recommendation for our partnership with Marian University for a leadership collaborative for school administrators. I recommend that the Board of Commissioners enter into the agreement with Marian University, detailed in Resolution 7638.
So moved. Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any comments on this item? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Yeah, do you want me to take
Yes.
the next one?
Yes, Madam President, if you would take item 8.02.
At Tuesday's agenda review session, the public comment policy was assigned to a subcommittee of Commissioners Hannan, Sullivan, and Eccles. Actually, this subgroup had worked on the policy before, so it was sent back to them for some clarification. Tonight, we have for consideration modified language to provide guidance to the public about providing comments at meetings of the board. Commissioner Hannan will provide a brief summary of the proposed changes.
I will.
What my
Okay.
script says.
Commissioner Sullivan, do you want to handle
I'm
that?
trying to pull it up.
Okay.
Hold on.
Sorry. So I think we wanted to provide clarification because in the policy that was passed, it was unclear whether public comment was being accepted at both the agenda review session and the action session, which it will be accepted at both. In order to speak at at either session, public comment needs to be signed up by the board office no later than noon the day before the scheduled meeting, so that we'll have time to address any concerns that arise and make sure that we have a list of folks well before the time of the meeting, so that we are able to hear all those who want to speak. Commentary will still be limited to 3 minutes, and I think, sorry, is there an overall, I don't think we put an overall limit on public comment time. Okay, that'll be up to the discretion of the board. We tried to make it as flexible for the president to make adjustments as necessary if we have a highly contentious item.
Can I just add that we will also be hearing on our agenda meetings, we will hear items that pertain to the agenda as they occur in the agenda.
Any other comments? And there are really two parts of this recommendation. Since this is simply a clarification of language and it's fully in the spirit of providing greater opportunity for public input and involvement, I recommend that we waive the 30-day waiting period for policy changes. Do I have a motion to waive the 30-day waiting period so that this policy may be in effect for next month's meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded that we waive the 30-day policy for the change of this policy. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Having waived the waiting period, we will now vote on the resolution outlining the specific language for the board's public comment policy. Do I have a motion to approve the resolution?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Comments or questions, and then we'll have a roll call vote. Commissioner Cosby.
Madam President, I noticed in the language that we now have the opportunity to register online to do this, and I just wondered if someone could inform the public on how, because that's new, and I was very excited to see it. Is that in the board section of the IPS website? Does anyone know exactly how folks can do that? I'm seeing nods, so I'm assuming
Joe,
that.
could you come maybe to the microphone, or it will be posted online on the website.
Okay, so that's new, and that's really great because it offers some flexibility for the folks at home in terms of how you can sign up. So you can now visit the website, or you can call our office, which is 226-4418. I just wanted to bring that out to the attention of the public.
Thank you. Any other comments, or Commissioner Bentley?
I just want to thank the subcommittee for putting in the work on this and making, providing the clarification, because I know we voted on this back in February, or I can't remember when, and it was unclear, so I appreciate the time that you put into it.
Thank you.
Madam President, can you just again clarify exactly when individuals can make public comment? So make sure we get that clear.
It's not specified in terms of the general comments during the agenda meeting. That will be up to the board president. And during the action session, all comments will be treated the same, and that is also up to the board president.
So we are trying to provide less barriers to speaking to the board and a little more flexibility so that we don't get bogged down, but that we have a transparency and an invitational practice. All those in favor?
Aye.
Oh, no, we have to do roll call, sorry, it's a policy.
Commissioner Bentley,
Yes.
Commissioner Hammond,
Yes.
Commissioner Odle,
Yes.
Commissioner Sullivan,
Yes.
Commissioner Cosby,
Yes.
Commissioner Eccles,
Yes.
President Arnold.
Yes.
Passes by unanimous vote.
Now, Dr. Farabee will make a recommendation for our next agenda item.
Next agenda item is item 8.03, which is a recommendation for the Innovation Network Agreement with Phelan Leadership Academies. In your material, you have the original presentation to the board regarding the instructional program. Also, in the materials, you have the agreement, executive summary, and all associated materials. I recommend that the board authorize IPS to enter into an Innovation Network Agreement with Phelan Leadership Academies as detailed in Resolution 7640.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded that we approve this recommendation. Comments from board members? Commissioner Cosby?
I'd just like to state for the record the reasons why I can't support this for the evening. I have some concerns about the price tag on this initiative. While I'm very hopeful that this initiative improves education on the east side, I realize this is a school that's been struggling for several years in terms of their letter grades that have been assigned. I asked for some comparison points in terms of the dollar amount that we're spending on this initiative, and I have not yet been able to review data that will enable me to make a comparison. My initial reaction to the price tag is that it's pretty hefty. We are supporting this initiative with approximately $500,000 before the doors even open in the fall. To my knowledge, that's not comparable with what happens throughout the rest of the district. I'm concerned about issues of equity moving forward, just in the terms that I'm hoping, because we have 9 more Innovation Network schools that will be coming in the next several years, that we don't end up creating another disparate system within our district where we have Innovation Network schools that have considerably greater resources than our traditional public schools. And I really am hopeful that's something that we can plan out in great detail as we move forward and be very intentional about that. But what I know about the other Innovation Network schools that are coming down the pike is that their costs may be significantly greater as we consider, other innovative practices such as boarding school components and things of that nature. So I'm hopeful. Obviously want the best for my East Side kids out there, and I believe that requires a certain level of innovation, but I just would like us to be cautious and be as intentional and forward-thinking as possible as we proceed with the opening of our future Innovation Network schools. Thank you.
Other comments from commissioners? Commissioner Bentley?
I just had we did on Tuesday talk a lot about some of the costs and had some questions about that. And I didn't know, Dr. Farabee, if you were able to sort of, let us know what we're, spending now at Francis Scott Key, and how that compares with this contract, whether that information was pulled together.
I believe there were some requests around just the current funding streams for Francis Scott Key at this time. Provided that information. It's just important to note that the current agreement was based on current funding streams, which includes our state basic grant and also our complexity grant, which is approximately $7,058. It also included other funding streams, federal resources such as Title II, Title I, Title III, and also textbook funding that we allocate currently to Francis Scott Key. So based on those numbers, that got us to about $7,631 per pupil, which is what the payments were based on. We believe that the transition and pre-operational costs are comparable to other transitions that we've had in the district. The technology needs are unique in that this is a blended learning environment, but again, it's also comparable to the baseline technology standards that we'll be applying at all of our schools in the district.
Thank you. Commissioner Odle?
Yeah, I just want to reiterate, my support for this. We approved the Innovation School partnership with the Mind Trust in 2014. I thought it was a bold move then, and I think that I'm just glad we're following through, and this is our first Innovation School. The school's going to get similar funding to what our other schools get, but I think all of us would say that, we don't believe every school ought to get the exact same amount of money. School funds should be allocated based on the needs of the students. And we're working to understand that funding, understand those needs, so we can differentiate and make sure our resources are getting to the most neediest kids. The worst thing we could do is leave these children in the same situation for another school year. That would be the worst thing. This process is coordinating with the East Side Initiative, which is going to bring millions of dollars to these families. It's going to help them with their housing. It's going to help them with employment, with adult education, and also with health care. So this initiative is part of a bigger vision for our community and how we're going to improve the life of those people that are disadvantaged in our community. I'm just proud that IPS is stepping up to this level of innovation. Innovation does mean, change, and change has risk. But the greatest risk of all to these kids is that IPS not take bold moves to improve their education.
Thank you. Commissioner Hannan?
I just wanted to share something I was thinking about the other night when we were discussing both this and the Far East Side Success Initiative. And when I was teaching at Tech, I had a student who had grown up in Carriage House East, which is a neighborhood that's impacted with this new initiative. And I remember visiting Carriage House East and sort of learning about what the community, what was important to the community and some of the challenges that had been faced by the community. And that student didn't finish high school, and he is, he still lives on the Far East Side, and has had a lot of challenges in his life. And I was thinking about him when we were discussing this the other night, because I think we hear a lot about how being born in a certain zip code can dictate, the future of your life. And for a long time, some of these neighborhoods have just been left alone to sort of suffer. And I think that, this initiative and this opportunity is one that means it's going to mean something different for kids that are born in that zip code and they get to go to that school. So I'm very excited, and I look forward to seeing what comes over several years.
Thank you. Other comments? I would just like to say that I too will be supporting the recommendation. When I look at this, and I think this has been a school that's been a failing school for 7 years. That's a long time for children to be in an environment. And we've talked a lot about equity, and part of the issue has been in the past that our magnet schools have gotten more money than our community schools. And I think this is very clearly stating that there will be more equity and that we will start to invest more resources in our lowest performing schools and our neighborhood schools. Those children deserve it. I too very much appreciate, here's a school that's been failing for 7 years, and suddenly on Tuesday we had people here wanting to support that neighborhood and wanting to support and send children to that school. That's phenomenal. And that demonstrates that people have great confidence in our ability to make a difference in this school and make a difference in the lives of these children. If we want to break the cycle of poverty, it clearly has to start with education. So I'm very proud and very pleased to support this first innovation school and look forward to a lot of creative ideas and opportunities as we move forward. We had a motion and a second. All those in favor of approving the recommendation, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Next section is new business. The first item under new business is item 9.01. It's a part of our Far East Side Success Initiative. There's a need to modify the boundaries for Francis Scott Key School 103 and George Buck School 94. I recommend the board authorize IPS to change the attendance boundaries for these schools as outlined in Resolution 7641.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded that we approve this recommendation regarding boundary changes. Any comments or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
The next item is item 9.02. We ask that Madam President lead the recommendation as this is a policy change.
I recommend that the board approve the one-time exception to policy 2620 as detailed in resolution number 7642. And this relates to the fact that we have a policy that we will not contract with a for-profit education entity. And Charter Schools USA happens to be a for-profit organization. But for us to enter into this, and with the recommendation and approval of the State Department of Ed, and to work toward getting our schools back, we recommend a one-time exemption to this board policy. Is there a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded that we approve this one-time exception to board policy number 2620. Comments or questions? Commissioner Cosby.
This one was a tough one for me. I think most of us could agree that there are benefits to this and there are drawbacks to this, and it's sometimes very difficult to weigh those out. I am not going to be able to support this tonight, either one, 9.02 or 9.03. The exemption being necessary for the next item on the agenda. This policy was just created last November, and it was just a board policy that was intended to guide our decision-making process as we navigate 1321 partnerships. We as a board agreed last November that we would not partner with for-profit organizations, and we also, I think, reached consensus on the fact that we would like for our decisions to be guided by the performance of the potential partnership. And I feel that Charter Schools USA does not meet either one of those qualifications. They are a for-profit organization, and they have not seen stellar performance as a turnaround organization. So for those two simple reasons, and you know that someone may say that's a very black and white or a concrete way of viewing this, and may be true, but I'm not going to be able to support either of the next two agenda items.
Comments or questions? Commissioner Hannan?
I want to acknowledge that I share a lot of the same concerns that Commissioner Cosby has. The reason I will be supporting the move tonight is because I hope it seems pretty clear that because of the state takeover, there's an opportunity here for these schools to be back in the fold of IPS, which is why I'm willing to make the exemption, though I completely understand Commissioner Cosby's hesitations. If it were not in the situation with the turnaround agreement and the State Board of Ed, it would probably not be my choice. But I'll be supporting it in an effort to bring the schools back into the fold of IPS versus state takeover.
Comments? Commissioner Sullivan?
Yes, I'd just like to say that I think the fact that this is a one-time exception reflects all of our concern about moving forward and our caution in doing so. It is a complex situation that is very unique and has a lot of moving parts to it. So to draw too many comparisons into the future based on this, I think would be ill-advised, but I'm very comfortable doing this for that reason. It's very unique.
And I would just like to say I will also be supporting it because, again, I think that the fact that the State Department of Education has indicated that they're willing, and Charter Schools USA has agreed to the terms of what we've presented, in that it will be an IPS school and they will be IPS students. And it does give us the opportunity to ultimately get those schools, potentially not just Emmadanan, but hopefully Manual and Howe as well, back into the fold of the IPS district. Any other comments? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Do we have
Should
to
it
do
be
a roll call?
Yeah, roll call because it's a, okay, we will do a roll call.
Commissioner Bentley,
Yes.
Commissioner Hannon,
Yes?
Commissioner Odle,
Yes.
Commissioner Sullivan,
Yes.
Commissioner Cosby,
Nay.
Commissioner Eccles. Yes. President Arnold.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Moving on to the next item.
Next agenda item is item 9.03, which is a recommendation to enter into an Innovation Network agreement with Charter Schools USA at Emmadanan for grades K through 6. In your materials, you have the agreement and associated documents and also the resolution. Also think it's important to note, again, this agreement is for grades K6, which also starts the process of the transition for grades 7, 8. As noted in the agenda review discussion, with this particular agreement, this is an opportunity for IPS and Charter Schools USA to come together to petition to the State Board of Education that this school, K8, be a IPS school with IPS students and staff. I also think it's important to note that recent legislation that has been approved, IPS will be exempt from further takeover expansion in these schools as a result of this agreement, which I think moves us down the path we would all like to be. So with that said, I recommend that the board enter into the agreement with Charter Schools USA as detailed in resolution number 7643.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded that we approve the recommendation. Comments or questions? Commissioner Sullivan?
Yes, Dr. Farabee just referenced recent legislation. I think with our recent budget legislation, it's even more imperative that we really work hard to stabilize and even grow our enrollment, and this proposal will also help us with that because of the provision that they will be bringing, be bringing half of the students, and they will be recruiting the others from non-IPS students, if that's correct. So I think that is a very positive aspect of this.
Other comments? Commissioner Odle?
Yeah, I want to make sure that the public understands this, the choices that we have to make, and that is we partner with Charter Schools USA in a K through 8 IPS school, or if we don't, the state board will allow Charter School USA to start their own K through 8 school and recruit IPS students to those schools. So it's really, I think, an excellent compromise that the superintendent has worked out, which is to partner with Charter Schools USA. These students will be IPS schools. Charter USA will manage those schools and will be held to performance improvement outcomes that are significant. They have to achieve them every year, or else the superintendent has the ability to cancel the agreement. And it also says that down the road that they will join with the superintendent in helping us bring those schools that they have now back into IPS. So I think it's an excellent agreement and fully support it, and thank Dr. Farabee for sticking with it and getting this worked out.
Other comments? Commissioner Cosby?
Commissioner Odle highlighted some of the reasons why this was a very tough decision for me. As I stated before, there were many points to this that I felt were beneficial to IPS. The one point that I can't get beyond is the data, and just so I can be very clear about my reasons for voting no, I would like to share, what's public information on the Indiana Department of Education Compass website about the performance of this particular school in the last few years since they have taken over. Emma Donnan, by race, black students have done no better than passed with an 18% rate. Hispanic students have passed no better than 22% of their students, and the white students have remained stagnant for the past several years. For that reason, knowing that currently this is a middle school setup, I can't in good conscience vote to allow this organization to expand this performance to a K through 8 setting. Thank you.
Comments? Commissioner Odell?
I think it's important for us to recognize, that one of our challenges is not dissimilar to what Charter Schools USA faces. If students don't perform well and they're not prepared in the K through 8 setting, or K through 6 setting, then they're not going to perform well in 7-8. So these students that we've been sending to those schools have not been prepared. And so what we have to do is to partner with Charter USA to start sooner in making sure these kids are prepared so that when they get to those junior high schools and to high schools, that they'll perform better. So I think that it is a solution that we found here, not a problem.
Any other comments? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Next agenda item is item 9.04, which is an agreement with Simon Youth Foundation. This agreement allows us to establish a high school at Circle Center Mall. My recommendation that the board authorizes IPS to enter into a memorandum of understanding with Simon Youth Foundation as detailed in resolution 7644.
So moved.
Second.
And it moved and seconded that we approve this recommendation. Comments or questions? Again, I think it's a very exciting initiative. I think it's great. Years ago, we had a school at Lafayette Square, and I was fortunate to be able to attend some of their graduations. And they were very non-traditional students who could go to school at the mall and then stay and work at the mall and learn a lot about retail and marketing and those types of skills. So I would like to commend the staff for working on this and the Simon Foundation for stepping up. And again, one of the issues we deal with is improving our graduation rate. And I think providing these non-traditional types of programs is a great way to do that. So I'm very supportive and look forward to hearing more about it as the program unfolds. Any other comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Next agenda item is item 9.05, which are two resolutions associated with our relationships with the Indianapolis Metropolitan Police Department in the IPS Police Department. There are two unique resolutions that I ask that commissioners consider for action. These are memorandums of understanding that continues our relationships as it relates to jurisdiction and also how we will handle investigating matters related to law enforcement on our campuses and around our campuses. I recommend that the board authorizes the IPS Police Department to enter into a memorandum of understanding with the IMPD that rescinds and replaces the 2013 MOU and delineates the investigative responsibilities of IMPD and IPS Police Department in handling certain police incidents as detailed in Resolution 7645.
So moved.
Moved and seconded that we approve this recommendation. Comments or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
The second resolution Again, deals with jurisdiction. I recommend that the board enter into a new memorandum of understanding with the Indianapolis Metropolitan Police Department that rescinds and replaces the 2008 memorandum of understanding and establish a concurrent jurisdiction, jurisdiction between IMPD and IPSPD, overall IPS property, personnel, while on school business as detailed in resolution number 7646.
So moved.
Been moved and seconded that we approve this recommendation. Comments or questions? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed?
The next agenda item is item 9.06, which is an agreement with Teach for America. This is an opportunity to continue our relationship with Teach for America. We ask that the Board of Commissioners approve the agreement with Teach for America as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded that we approve the recommendation for an agreement with Teach for America. Comments or questions? Commissioner Cosby?
Just a question, I would like to know if this is approximately the same amount as we've gotten in years previous.
We typically do an agreement for up to a certain number of teachers, and this is reflective of similar numbers that we have allowed for the district that will support for Teach for America.
Comments or questions? Any other comments or questions?
I had just a quick comment.
Commissioner Bentley?
I was just happy to see that they're committing to placing more TFA teachers in our schools since, and I was happy to see that as a percentage of their total. I think that's a great step.
What Commissioner Bentley is referring to is that typically in the past,
Percentage, yeah.
yes, percentage has gone out to other school organizations or operators, and we've deepened our relationship. And through some of the recent successes we've had in our partnership, there's a commitment to providing a greater percentage here in IPS. And we're really pleased that many of our Teach for America teachers are experiencing more success, and we're better able to support those teachers.
Commissioner Odle?
Yeah, I'm going to point out too that talking with Dr. Farabee, they've committed to diversity in recruitment too, and so we're going to try to get a more diverse teacher pool through this mechanism as well. So I think that's a positive thing as well.
Comments? Commissioner Cosby?
Just to follow up, and I'd just like to flag for a future request, if we could at some point talk about recruitment efforts. I'm happy to have TFA teachers, but one thing that has presented itself to me in conversations in the community is that we could be more proactive in recruiting from neighboring colleges and things of that nature. So if we could maybe at some point discuss strategies around recruitment.
Good idea.
Any other comments, questions? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Next agenda item is item 9.07. It's also a continuation of relationship for a teacher pipeline. This agreement is for the new teacher project. I recommend the Board of Commissioners approve the agreement with the new teacher project as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded that we approve this recommendation. Comments or questions? Commissioner Eccles?
Sorry, I should have asked this before when I noticed the price differential between the new teacher project and Teach for America. So my question is the new teacher project, is this price higher? Per core member, we pay a certain amount for the core member, correct? And I'm wondering if this is a change.
I don't think there are any changes. Ms. Schultz, if you want to respond, if there are any changes.
The price point that we currently have under the agreement is carried over from last year, and it's actually a discounted rate for the range, the tiers that we would fall into. I'd have to run the numbers to do a side-by-side between that and TFA, but it's a carryover from last year.
Thank you. Sorry,
You're
I
welcome.
missed that.
Commissioner Cosby?
I don't see a mention in the contract of a projected number of TNTP teachers that we will receive. Do you have any idea if that's similar to TFA or if we get a different number of TNTP teachers than we do TFA teachers every year?
So right now, with the numbers that we have coming in confirmed, we do have a higher number of TFA teachers than we do TNTP. We actually have another event tomorrow with for the Teaching Fellows program, so those numbers can change as we continue the recruitment process. But right now, we have more confirmed TFA than TNTP.
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions? All those in favor of approving the recommendation, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We now move into superintendent comments.
Thank you, Madam President. There are 3 items for my comments for this evening. First, want to commend the Board of School Commissioners on their leadership for supporting the Francis Scott Key Innovation Agreement with Phelan Leadership Academies and the boundary changes for Francis Scott Key and George Buck. This is truly a very exciting time for the Far East Side. Francis Scott Key will serve as the anchor for the Far East Side Success Initiative. This initiative is focused on a community effort to encourage continuous partnership for early years to college to ensure that the young people of the Far East Side have every opportunity for success in life. Again, I also want to personally express gratitude to the Glick Family Foundation for their generosity, also to the Central Indiana United Way, and also the Central Indiana Community Foundation, all that have been great partners. We expect many more partners. Cafe has been engaged. This is truly, again, something special for the Far East Side. Again, just also pleased to be a part of the Near East Side Promise Zone as well. Secondly, I also want to just lift up the generosity from the Simon Youth Foundation. The IPS and Simon Youth Foundation High School at Circle City Mall will be unique and will be an exciting, non-traditional experience for students to experience work-based learning and also enhance career readiness. Third item is strategic planning. Several commissioners referenced strategic planning this evening. I am pleased with the diversity as well. What we've seen is a diverse representation of stakeholders in our strategic plan committees. Our strategic plan committees, teaching and learning, efficient operations, and family and community are all working hard at drafting our potential SMART goals. They'll soon share their work with the public. And then finally, a recognition. This is a special one for me because I had an opportunity today to recognize a young man in one of our schools. I want to recognize an outstanding scholar. Today, I had an opportunity to visit Elder Diggs School 42, an opportunity to visit a second grade classroom where Idris Andrews